Hey, welcome to DCTP.tv from the Republica in Berlin. My next guests are James and Amin. Welcome to the program from the London-based NGO Small Media. And you both analyze the activities of Iranian conservative cyber activists.
Yes.
Yep. What is it? Who are these people?
Well, Amin has been studying conservative community in Iran for several years now, following 450 blogs.
How many?
And 450.
450 conservative
blogs.
Iranian blogs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Since the 2009 elections.
Yeah.
And so that was the basis of this research report. That was kind of our starting point. We had some previous background looking at these communities. So
And I mean, why did you start then?
After the controversial election in 2009, I based on my daily reading, I was interested to know more about the conservative.
And you then lived in London or Iran already?
I was in London.
In London. Okay.
Yeah, I was in London, I was interested to read more about it and know more about them. And I found out, okay, the problem is most research about Persian blogosphere was about the reformist opposition, Green movement that time, and no one didn't talk about the conservative part. And I that time okay, let's do something about this part of Persian blogosphere that they were so active in that time.
Okay, let's draw a little bit topography here of this conservative blogosphere. You already mentioned 450 blogs. Then in 2009, how many are there now?
So we can't say
We can't say.
the exact number, to be honest.
But has it grown or?
It's a bit complex because I follow 450 blogs, but for the sake of this research, we found out a list of around 4,000 blogs, and then we mix both list of blogs, and then we set a different condition to start our research. What we did, to be honest, I can't say how many blogs there are.
Okay,
Yes.
what else can you say about
So, I mean, this research project on the blogging side of it was, we were looking to build a network of the blogs. So we took the 150 core blogs that we found after we'd filtered the 4,000 blogs, and we took all the links on their front pages, and then took all of those links and went another step. So we ended up with around 300,000 links in total in data terms, and then we repeated this 3 times before, during, and after the election. So in this project we ended up with around about 1 million pieces of data that we then had to sort through.
And what was the research question? What were you trying to find out?
I mean, we were just looking at tracking this community, like its political and its social activities, how users engaged with political and social topics over the course of the 2013 presidential election, because we kind of wanted to see how united the community was, whether it was divided, and we thought that the 2013 elections offered us a good opportunity because there were 5 or 6 conservative candidates running, and so we thought that online you would see different types of conservatives rallying around different conservative candidates, and they would start debating with each other and kind of exchanging
your
ideas.
findings? I mean, what did you find out in terms of who are these people? What are their topics?
One of the questions that we defined at the first phase of our research is in that time there were lots of rumors that said okay, most conservative, sometimes all conservative bloggers or Arzashi, they funded by the government, they receive money from the government, and also people claim okay they are thinking the same way. For instance, they completely support Ahmadinejad in that time, and they completely against reformists. We tried in our research to show this kind of myth. Another myth was the Iranian authority, they announced, for instance, we trained 12,000 bloggers that they will go to Persian blogosphere and support the Iran's regime. But we personally we didn't believe, and we tried to show, okay, these numbers they are fake, and these rumors about conservative bloggers receive money from the government, they are not correct.
Yeah, and I mean the data that we found kind of prove this, because out of the tens of thousands of blogs that we actually found, less than or just over 100 of them received over 100 links from elsewhere in the network. So only around 100 blogs were read or linked to by more than 100 people. About 60, just over 60% of all the blogs in our network were only linked to once. And so they essentially had no readership. They weren't really genuine blogs. They were filled with copy and pasted news articles.
So how many blogs are there, would you say, that are really the core blogs, conservative type?
165.
Yeah, I think that was our number. The absolute core that are widely read.
Based on our data, around 5% of the all blogs.
And who
that
are
we
these
crawl.
people?
You have people like Vahid Yaminpour, who's essentially a member of the conservative establishment. He had a TV show on the state broadcaster IRIB, and he's by far the most influential figure on the Google Plus community, in the Azeshi Google Plus community. But I mean, you have a wide variety of different people active in this community. There are women as well who are very influential. There's this one named Cobra Asupar, who's a journalist with Javan newspaper, which is aligned with the Revolutionary Guard. And she's very influential. So you can't just say that this is all a kind of homogenous community of activists.
Okay, because you mentioned this already, because when we hear, oh, there are like conservative cyber activists in Iran, well, you first thing, okay, they're all government funded, it's a united community, they're all more or less officials, but this is not the case.
No.
It's
generally
pretty diverse.
Same as rest of the Persian blogosphere. There are bloggers, some of them they really believe, it doesn't matter, they really believe to their idea. That's it. Some of them they just post poets, religious quotes, I don't know, that kind of things. It's same as here. When you look at I assume when you look at the German webosphere or blogosphere, you will find different people.
Okay,
that's it. Same.
And how many readers do they have?
The
biggest.
To be honest, we don't have any.
Couldn't really have that data.
Are they influential? Can you measure it?
It depends the definition of influential, and also based on from which part. If you are talking about the reformists or opposition, definitely not. But you talk about the
like convincing the reformists to be.
No.
I mean, they're very isolated communities.
Of, agenda setting, for example, like conservative blogs, I don't know, chooses to write very emotional about topic A, and you see this topic appear in other mass media outlets, on television, like agenda setting. Would you say they are capable of this?
Yes, because but the point is it doesn't mean they are influential, because the IRB, the state broadcasting, it's supported by the conservative people. They already IRB support conservative people.
Yeah.
It's not you can't measure from this.
Okay. And what's the function then of these blogs? What would you say? I mean, those people obviously have an opinion and they like to publish it. But do they make a difference in any way?
It's difficult to say that they actually make a difference on public discourse. There are some limited interactions between the kind of conservative online communities and the reformist communities. Some users do drift between the two of them. So this user we just mentioned, Vahid Yaminpour, he posted this really controversial post and attracted hundreds and hundreds of comments from reformists who are angry at him. So the posts that they make on social media are read in some cases by reformists, and there is some kind of discourse between the two communities, but whether it changes anything on a national level, it's not very likely.
And we shouldn't forget, when you look at the whole of the Persian blogosphere, you will see Persian blogosphere is a kind of separate. There are lots of separate islands.
Yeah.
For instance, the one analyst they just talk about technology. Either it's erläutert or konservative, either opposition. There isn't any link between them. There's a different cluster that they are talk themselves. That's
Okay.
it.
Okay, those islands, some of them I would say we have, I don't know, in Western industrialized countries as well, like
Yeah.
technology. But are there some specific Iranian topics they talk about?
Well, this wasn't part of our study. I think this was part of a Harvard study done previously. But there is a really large chunk of the blogosphere devoted to poetry and to literature, like a really very significant segment.
It's
So
very,
that's
very
quite-
diverse.
And
Yeah.
is this like a covert operation to talk about politics, or are they really? Is it really about literature and
I think it'd be interesting to do a study on that. We didn't really look at the poetry segment in our
Okay.
report, but yeah.
Okay. And can people write freely?
What's your definition of it?
Okay. Can they write what they want, or did you come across like, okay, this is a sign for censorship, or I'm amazed that they could have written this because
No. You can write freely. This is not issue, but your blog will be blocked.
blocked.
Yeah, blocked.
Yeah.
Filter. It's to say you can post it. Okay, I'm and even it happened for the conservative for erläutert bloggers. We have two cases that they criticize the supreme leader or the filtering committee or head of the parliament, and then they were blocked. They were blocked. That's it.
And can you access them freely, or did you have problems from abroad?
No, you can access them freely.
And what kind of tools do they use? Like, I mean, obviously Twitter, Facebook, Google
Yeah,
Plus.
Google Plus as well. And there are a bunch of different Iranian blogging platforms that are typically used, but they tend to be declining in significance. Social media really is beginning to overtake them because they're just better constructed systems, essentially. It's easier to post media, whether that's images, videos. So people are really starting to migrate away from blogs towards these kind of platforms.
And are these conservative bloggers mostly men, women?
The vast majority are men,
Yeah.
but as we said previously, there are some very influential women within the network, and it shouldn't be considered necessarily just a boys' club.
Okay.
And but when you compare the percentage of women in the erläutert community with the whole of Persian blogosphere, the percentage is very, very high.
Yeah.
And it means women in erläutert community or conservative, they are very, very active.
Was there anything you were surprised of? I mean, like, oh, we didn't think this.
Surprise you. One of the things that it surprised me in person is that when Rouhani won the election, then their activities suddenly declined, and I was surprised because I was thinking when Rouhani won the election, then maybe they become more active to criticize Rouhani, okay, because at the end of the day now they don't have power. I mean, from the government. They don't have power in the government. But I was surprised. But now the activities decline.
Okay. Is there a second step project, like a continuation of this project?
We may be doing some kind of smaller post-mortem kind of project on
What
the
does it
state of the conservative community, the Erläutert community, at some later stage.
But
Yeah,
we will definitely do more. Think about Iran webosphere, not just Persian blogosphere.
yeah.
For instance, now we are monitoring the filtering situation in Iran. Every month we publish a report about it. Yeah, we are very active in general. Small media, we are very, very keen to follow up what's going on in Iran webosphere.
Yeah, I mean, we're also conducting a major report on the position of religious minorities in Iran and how they're using the internet. In a similar way to some previous reports we've done on the status of the LGBT community. So yeah, we're interested in seeing how different communities in Iran are using the internet and building communities.
Okay. Amin, James, thank you very much for coming. Thanks very much for watching. You can find this video and other videos we record here on the Republica 2014 on dctp.tv or our YouTube channel dctp.tv. Thanks very much for watching. My name is Philip Banse. Stay tuned and goodbye.